The BOJ unchanged again.
It's sort of like a groundhog movie among central banks, right? Every day, every meeting the BOJ goes to, it just seems like we're really seeing a repeat, a little bit of an exaggeration, because clearly a lot of things have changed for Japan. Like every other country, it went through the pandemic. It suffered a huge downturn in GDP, and that was after already had 2 quarters of negative growth. Remember 2020, the consumption tax hike and all that? Well, it pulled out of that. It had a couple quarters of growth, another negative quarter, and then a small quarter. So they're worried about what happens now. So they can't change policy. There's nothing more they could do to stimulate consumption or boost inflation. And they, in fact, as you know, they actually reduced their forecast for growth and for inflation for this year. They're a little more optimistic for next year. They did see the inflation expectations rising. But one of the interesting things that is noted in everything they put in the policy statement is this odd concern they have, or this odd condition in Japan, that they can see that costs may rise as input costs rise. Think about all those supply constraints that are hitting Japanese manufacturers. But then they're afraid that even as costs go up, they won't pass the prices on to consumers. That's a complex situation that they note in the minutes, and that is another thing that the Bank of Japan can talk about. They can keep a 2% inflation target to keep inflation expectations high, but they can't get away from that chart. They're basically stuck around zero. So they are where they are. Well, the press conference, though, let me just quickly say, the press conference comes this afternoon. We'll be talking about that on our shows tomorrow. What will BOJ's Chief Kuroda be asked about all these things and what happens next? That's what we're going to be listening for.